Good morning and welcome to the EZFX signal broadcast for Wednesday, the 7th of September, 2016. My name is Bradley Freed, and for the next 20 to 30 minutes, you'll be joining me for a broadcast where we review our watch list from yesterday and update any open trades, and also introduce any new trade ideas that have emerged since the previous trading room. If you have any questions, we have a chat room on this page. If you're watching live, you can post your question and I'll answer it live at the end of the broadcast. If you're watching the recording, we have a community feature on this website. If you go to the menu at the top, mark community, you can find me in the members list. My handle is EZFX. You can send me a private message, or you can go to the groups item on that same menu, and there's a trading room group that you can join. And then you can post your questions to that group, and either myself or another member of EZFX will be happy to give you some advice and help answer your question. So let's go ahead and get started by reviewing the watch list from yesterday. We were watching the euro-dollar buy and the pound-dollar buy. Our newer, now actually that's an old list. Let's go down to the bottom. This is our list from this week. Sorry about that. We were watching the euro pound buy, pound Swiss sell, Aussie yen sell, euro Newsy buy, and pound yen sell. Our new or open trades were as follows. The Newsy yen sell was new. The euro dollar buy was new. Our open trades are the Aussie Newsy buy, dollar Swiss sell, euro yen sell, dollar yen sell, euro yen sell, Aussie dollar buy, and Aussie CAD buy. And as of yesterday, our results were a Aussie Swiss buy trade, which really closed last week to give us 155 pips. And then this week, our first win was a euro dollar sell that won 103 pips. Actually, it was the euro dollar that closed this week. The Aussie Swiss closed this week for 155 pips. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so a lot has happened this week. I've sent a lot of signals. There have been a lot of trades, and we've had a lot of wins, so it's been really exciting. The last 2 weeks have been really great. I'm very happy for our members who've been able to take that ride with me, and hopefully you've taken the trades, you've enjoyed some of the winnings, and you've managed the trades as I give instructions at each point when I make a decision. So let's go ahead and jump over to the charts. We'll see what's going on. We'll get our list updated. Starting with the watch list, I guess let's just go from the top. Euro pound sell and a pound Swiss buy. Actually, it's the other way around. Pound Swiss sell, euro pound buy. These both went out of signals yesterday. We are now in these and they are open. I've set initial profit targets based on a retracement of this entire downtrend here. So my first profit target is just below the 50% retracement. It's the monthly pivot. And that may seem aggressive. I don't really think it is, actually. So I'm going to keep the target there. Risk to reward wise, the other option would be to take an initial profit at the weekly pivot here, this week's weekly pivot, and then have a final profit target to this monthly pivot. But that's entirely up to you. For now, the plan is the first target is a weekly pivot, and the monthly pivot. The final target is a weekly pivot. It's just above the 78.6% retracement level. Of course, that may change as we get reversal signals, as we get other signals that tell us that this trend is going to reverse again. But right now, it's telling us that it's just getting started, and I do think we can get to that monthly pivot. So that is open, and we'll go ahead and change that on our list to open. And we send a signal out on that, so it has 2 stars by it. Next, moving on, pound Swiss, same deal. My internet connection just reset. Give me a second for the charts to respond again. There we go. Pound Swiss. Pound Swiss also opened a signal when we closed below this trend line. And we also had a triangular moving average color change in addition to a sell bubble. And now we also have, this was class B divergence, and now it's a class A supply zone. It just gives us additional confirmation of the strength of this drop. Initial profit target is again the monthly pivot for September. Final profit target is a weekly pivot from a month ago at 1.2678. And I just chose that because it seemed like it wasn't too close to the monthly pivot, but it wasn't so far that it would be way beyond 78.6% like this pivot down here. So I think it's attainable, but it's still a stretch goal. So that's really why I chose it. And it's a pivot, and I like pivots, and pivots are reliable targets. So the pound Swiss is also open. Next, we have our Euro Yen sell, Aussie Yen sell, sorry. And this opened up. I did not send out a signal on this as I had so many trades on that I couldn't take anymore. But we had a trend line break of this trend line, and then the following. And we also had a sell bubble, triangular moving average color change, actually 2 sell bubbles. Plenty of confirmation to get in this trade. So this trade is now open. We'd set an initial profit target kind of close for this trade at the monthly pivot here, and that was easily hit, meaning that the stop should now be at break even. And now we're going for the final profit target down here. At the 50% retracement level. That was the plan that we came up with. Now that initial profit target, if we'd set it at that monthly pivot, it isn't really 1-to-1, it's less than 1-to-1. We would have needed to stop at about 70 pips and that target is only 43. So in that case, you could have chosen this next Fibonacci level at 61.8. And actually, these are old Fibonacci's. Sorry, I need to just go back to basics here. Okay, took the old Fibonacci's off. The new Fibonacci's would have been with the new trend, of course. And then we have some good retracement levels. So we would have done 50% because we need that risk to reward ratio, and it did hit that. And then we'd have a final profit target at 78.6 or at this weekly pivot that's in front of that. And I'd probably choose the weekly pivot. And then this trade is open, it's retraced a bit, but it's not back to the break-even stop yet. So this is open with a stop at break-even. It is not a signal trade. The Euro New Z buy next. And I'll just put this up with the other yen trades just for fun, so we can keep an eye on it. Euro New Z buy. And this is one I have not been keeping an eye on. There it is. This keeps dropping. For some reason, the Newsy keeps just getting pounded. It keeps moving further into trend direction. That's great for us because we want to buy this when it does turn around. So it's creating a bigger and bigger trend, which means it's a bigger and bigger potential buy trade after it starts to range and then eventually sets up a Class A zone and then rises and goes back to some of these pivots. So I'm still watching this, and the further it goes, the more interested I am. It broke through these support levels here. If we look on the daily, you can see it broke through the support. It's headed lower. This is going to be a great buy trade when it finally sets up. So excellent. I hope it keeps going. And on the 1 hour chart, we can even redraw our trend line again, like we redrew yesterday to be more in line with the slope of the trend. We can do it again. And so now we have a new trend line. But that's the only change I would make right now. And I still like that setup quite a bit. That may set up for us next week or the following week, but it will set up. It will be a buy trade. And look what we have up here. We have a weekly pivot. We have a monthly pivot. Boy, that'd sure be nice to set it up that way. And it's not ready yet. Just remember, it's still going. It's showing no signs of stopping at this point. Let's look at the pound yen sell next. And this, I took a pound yen trade, and that's not my typical thing. I talk about the pound yen. We have pound yen setups, but this week I've tried to take everything that we look at, just really be aggressive because things have been working so well. So this hit its initial profit target. I set an initial profit target at the monthly pivot like we talked about yesterday. Final profit target at the current monthly pivot at 133.5723. Stop is at break even. We've taken partial profit. This actually, when I finally got into it, the required stop was 148. The initial profit target was 149. So it's just about 1-to-1. But it might have been a little bit less in some cases, depending on when you got into the trade. That's okay, because we took profit, we're out, we moved our stop to break even, we've done everything we're supposed to when we're supposed to. And now we're just hoping we're going to get another leg down to that monthly pivot on this pair. But this is an open trade. It's a signal trade. I did send it as a signal yesterday. And it's worked out beautifully. And gave us a nice bit of profit as well. So the only thing we have on our watching list right now is the Euro Newsy. And I'll just tell you right now, we've had so many trades this week that I'm really more interested in just managing out what we have left versus taking a lot of trades up to the end of the week. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I get tired after a week of trading, especially if I've taken 6 or 7 trades, it's fine. But by Thursday night, if I've taken 8 trades or 10 trades, that's a lot of work. It's monitoring, it's updating, it's also sending out all the signals. And if it's a week that's gone well, I don't want to get greedy and when I'm tired, pile on a bunch of trades and then start giving back what I made. So, and we've done very well this week. And I'll show you a little bit more of that in just a little bit, but I'll show you right now. Heck. If I go to my EZFX book, I mean, if you're watching this and you've been taking the trades and you kind of have an idea of how well we've done, but I just pretty thrilled about this because this is actually the best trading week I've had since I started using this system. So first, let's look at our portfolio. And we can see that strategy 1 is up to 30%. That's the first time it's been up to 30%. And strategy 2, we've made it back off this drawdown. We were up 20%. We had one small loss in the Aussie Newsy that dropped it back to 19.27. But we have combined gain on this account now of almost 23%. We get a few more wins, and this is going to be, well into 30, and this is going to be over 20 and on its way to 30. So this has been a spectacular week if you look at just all these gains that have been made in a short time over the last 2 to 3 weeks. It's really spectacular. Really happy about that. And if we look at the individual accounts, let's look at profit target 1 first of all, and just look at percent gains. So if you go down on the EZFX book, then there's a little chart down here that shows return. So June, May was terrible. That was a transition month, really, when we were transitioning to the new version of the system, the current trading system, the meaner version trade system. June, we did okay, 2.2%, 2.02%. Good July, 7.68%. So August, 5.48%, and a really excellent September so far at 6.69%. But that's not, those are great numbers. And last year, on the very first version of the system, we had some months where we did almost as well, but we also had some crappy months where we were losing money. But we've done far better, far faster in the last few months than we've ever done with this latest version of our trading system. And now let's look at profit target 2. Profit target 2, we've just had a massive recovery really quickly. And I knew we would because our risk to reward ratio on these is much higher. So when we have a string of wins, we just recover very quickly. Look at what we've done in September, 17.46%. That's the best I've done with this methodology ever. August 2015, when I first started with the first version of the system, which worked pretty well in the beginning, and then we had to fine tune it through another couple of iterations to get to where we are today. We had a 10.3% August, but now we've done 17.46%. And that's a lot of validation for me. I mean, not only is the market just good for this kind of trading, but I think we've gotten some things on our system right, and it's probably the best version we've ever had. And I'm hoping, we're not going to have great weeks like this all the time, but I'm hoping we're going to have more of them. And I'm hoping we're going to see the pace of gains increase, that tempo increase, so that we can, not go through these cycles of drawdown where we have to revise the system, but where we can actually use this system pretty reliably for several months and start to pile on profits and gains, so that we can build the account beyond this kind of 20% ceiling that I was seeing for the last two versions of the system, and go beyond and just start really seeing momentum in gains, up to 30, 40, 50, 60%. That would be just my dream come true for this system and for what we share with you in this trading room. Okay, well, enough kind of self-celebration. Let's get back to our watch list. Use yen sell. Where are we at on that pair? The Newsy has not wanted to break down like other pairs. So the other yen pairs broke down nicely. This broke down, and then it has run right back up. And I considered loss cutting it, but that would be an emotional choice, and I'm not going to do it. We're right back above the entry price. We're drawn down a little bit. It could rise up easily and hit this stop. It probably will, but it might not as well. So as other yen pairs drop, if we get the pound yen dropping, if we get the dollar yen going further down, if we get the euro yen dropping down, it's going to drag this down again. And provided that it doesn't stop out before then, it could range down again and hopefully get to a lower low. So I committed to this trade idea. I sized my trade. I'm controlling my risk. I took it on a valid signal. I didn't have a valid exit signal down here to get out of the trade early. So with the rules as they currently are, unless I'm willing to make an emotional decision, I'm in this for the duration. I'm not going to change my decision. And that's just kind of the way they are. Because emotion, one of the things I do when I make trading rules, I'm trying to drive any kind of gray area where emotion takes over out of the trading process. And that includes about potential losses. Because I could loss cut this and then it'll just drop. And then it'll get right to the target, and I'll look a few weeks later and say, well, I could have made a few $100 on that. And that just wouldn't be good either, because I would have gotten out of it for an emotional reason, and that would have just been dumb. It would have been completely off the reservation with regard to my system. So that's still open. It's still new. You can actually get in that at a decent price now if you want to. I don't know that I would at this point, to be honest, until this sets up another valid signal. So let's just say this ranges out for a while, and then we get a new sell bubble, and we get a new place to draw a trend line, or we use the existing trend line and it drops below it. I mean, at the minimum, I would wait for that. If this drops and we get a strong candle close below this trend line again, you could go ahead and trade it again. I think that would be completely valid. And if there's other things that are tacked on after that that make it even more attractive, that's also fair game, I think. But at the moment, I wouldn't get in it if you weren't already in it. But it's still a new trade. Euro dollar buy, that's our next one. This is done very well. It finally rose up very quickly, hit our initial profit target just as we'd planned. And now it's been moving sideways, and we have some Class B divergence, but I'm still want to get to the final profit target up here. That's the 78.6% Fibonacci retracement level. Also, if you look on the 4-hour chart, it's easy to see that is also a support and resistance level right here, fairly strong one. So the next leg up would bring it there very easily, and we would be out of this trade. But I'm still in this. I still like the buy direction, and our stop is at break even. So let's just follow the plan. And that's currently an open trade. It's too late to get in that if you aren't in it already. We did take some nice profit off of that All right. Aussie Newsy buy, open trade. This has failed twice now. Our initial entry was here. It stopped out, and then we got a second setup, and it stopped out. So we're done with this pair for a while. That was a 1-2 punch retrade, and we're all finished with it. We took a loss on that. It stopped out. It stopped out. And we took a loss of about 50 pips. So it's not, again, very controlled. We sized the position. It was less than 1% of our equity that we lost. It was worth it for the potential risk reward, and now it's done. And because it was a 1-2 punch retrade, and if you've studied the course and you're familiar with the retrade rules, we're just not going to worry about this pair for a while. Even if it sets up a valid entry signal right now, I'm not going to trade it again until at the earliest next week. So right now we're just kind of sitting out on this pair. Okay, dollar Swiss sell is our next one. And this was not a signal trade, but it was an open trade. And this has done very well. So remember, we were looking at this, and this is the same as the euro dollar. It was moving sideways. You could still get in it at a decent price. Say an 80, 81 pip, 82 pip stop. And then with the first profit target at 96 down here at the 50% retracement level on this move here, this big trend, buy trend that happened. It hit that, and it's going lower. So your stop is at break even. And we've taken some profit, and it's on its way to its final profit target with a little bit of Class B divergence showing here. So this trade is open, and it's on its way to its final target. Next, dollar yen. And yen pairs we did very well on yesterday, especially the dollar yen and the did well on the pound yen too, but the dollar yen is actually closed. We hit the first profit target, hit the second profit target, and done. And at each stage, you know, those where they hit those pivot levels and just kind of hesitated a little bit, and then it went right onto the next pivot. So those are perfect. I mean, those are great estimators that we use, and it'll probably drop and go further, but it did everything it wanted to do. It followed the plan, gave us our profit, and we did everything along the way, including moving the stop to break even. So I'm very happy with this trade. And we made, I think it was 215 on this. Yeah, at its final profit target, we made up to 215 pips on the dollar yen. Starting to move things off our list as we win and take some money. Next, euro yen, same deal. This thing dropped, and this actually went right through our first target, which was monthly pivot from last month. It got to our final profit target right away, which was a weekly pivot down here. But it didn't necessarily, because of spread and because it happened so fast on the back of an announcement, that I didn't get filled with this initial wick. I had to wait a little bit, and finally it did move down and hit it and gave me a fill. So I know that we got profit on this, and that was just a straight, I believe, 200 pips that we were able to collect at that point. So we made, you know, 127 on the first part of the trade and 200 on the second. Next, we'll look at the Aussie dollar buy. Also an open trade. This is almost to its final profit target. It wavered a little bit on all the Aussie announcements yesterday, and it looked like it might drop. Especially I was looking at the Aussie newsy, and that just kept dropping. But this looks like it's going to wind up and finally get to our 78.6% retracement level. It's still open, but the stop is at break even. We've taken partial profit at the initial target, which has already given us 75 pips. And then if we hit the final target, that'll be a 151 or 152 that we'll enjoy from that. But it's at present, it's still open, but it looks like it's getting close to hitting its target and giving us the profit that's built up there. Aussie CAD, that's another buy trade. And this one is starting to recover. Remember, this was looking pretty bad. It had drawn down pretty bad. Then it recovered into the old range. It still hasn't broken out of that old range. In fact, I still have this old trend line here. We were waiting for a break of it. That's been kind of resistance again. So if it breaks out and closes above that and starts moving higher, I think we can at least get to this monthly pivot, if not to our initial profit target at the 50% retracement level. And at that point, we'll be moving our stop to break even, taking partial profit, doing all the usual things. But this trade is still open. It's just we've had to be extraordinarily patient with it as it's evolved. And that's where we're at right now. We still have a lot of open trades. We have a lot that, especially for target one, that had partial profit taken and stops moved to break even. We've taken a lot of profit off the board. We've also controlled a lot of risk by moving stops to break even on the target 2 account. So I'm very happy. We've done everything we're supposed to do. We've made a lot of money this week, and I hope that we have some more wins to close out the week. And I'll be looking forward to then looking for some new trade setups after we've had some time to rest and start looking at the charts on Sunday afternoon. That's all I have for now. Let's just make sure that we don't have any questions in the live trading room. And we have one person attending. I don't know if we have any questions or not, but Stefan, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If not, you can always contact me offline via the community. Go to members, find me. I'm EZFX. You can send me a private message. Go to groups, join the trading room group, and post your question to the group. Or you can always send me an email directly. Happy to answer you at ezfxsignal@gmail.com. If there's no questions, then I'm going to go ahead and close out the trading room for today. We've done just about 30 minutes, which is perfect. Don't want to go too long, don't want to go too short, but I think it's been a great trading week. And thanks for watching. And I'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the EZFX live trading room. Looking forward to you joining, watching, attending, asking questions. Any way you want to participate, just happy that you're here. Take care and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.